D20, D6 are all you need.
Hey, you're live.
Hey, welcome to Plus One EXP, which is a weird little brand that multi-classes in tabletop game design, beard, and skincare alchemy in the Bardic College of Content Creation. Our hope and desire is to help amazing designers find great players who love their games and amazing players find great designers whose games they can love. We do that in a lot of different ways, but the main way we do it, sitting down with those designers to play those games. Today, we are sitting down with the designer to play this game. They are not running it, though. We're playing Down We Go, which is our house OSR system here at Plus One EXP. The creator, Markus Linderum, is here with us, though. And since I always ask anyways, Markus, why don't you tell people who you are, what you do, and tell us a little bit about the wild adventure that Down We Go has been for you.
Hey, everyone. I'm Markus Linderum. I'm from Sweden, Gothenburg, west coast of Sweden. Been playing RPGs all my life, trying to write RPGs right now. So Down We Go was my first game that I released, and Tony saw it, liked it, picked it up, and now it has been delivered to all of the backers. Correct, Tony?
I mean, if they haven't got it, they haven't told me. There is one person in Perth, Australia, that we're getting in contact with the carrier to get it redirected to their new address. But as far as I know, other than that, everyone has received their game.
Awesome. And when I do write games, I call myself Apes of Wrath, and that's also my Twitter handle, and that's how you can find me on Itch or Drive Through RPG. I have some other stuff there as well. Yeah, that's
awesome.
About it, I think.
Yeah, and Down We Go started out as a one-page RPG that you had popped up over in the Minimalist RPG group. I saw it. I was like, I love this. Come run it on stream. We did, and I was like, hey, if you came up with like a page of city rules and a couple of more dungeons, I would publish a 12-page version of this zine. And then for the next year, you and I, because you came back with this really cool wild city concept, the dungeons that you had are one page but have 4 different ways that you can do them. These really great concepts. We spent the next year just kind of developing that with a whole host of amazing folks, and just set it out like you talked about. So I am going to run it. Yeah, there is a new camera angle for me. It's not a flattering camera angle. It's because this camera, which I'm going to accidentally talk to all the time because I'm used to it, is not working right now. I've got to get a replacement. This camera right here that I should be talking to, which is my temporary backup camera, is working right now. So the lighting looks different. You can tell that my hair is thinner. All the studio lights and magic are totally different at this angle. But yeah, we're gonna play. Let's meet the other folks that we're playing with for this session. We're kind of doing things a little bit differently, though. We're doing it raw. We're doing it rules as written. So as low prep as Down We Go is, we haven't done any substantive prep for this. We're going to sit down and kind of walk through everything as we go. Some people already kind of tossed in some of their character details, other stuff like that, but some people are going to be doing it live, and we're going to build out the city and things as we go, really to showcase, if you're going to run Down We Go at home, here are the different things you're going to do in order to create the city of Infinitopolis, in order to create your characters, in order to walk through the different narrative elements. And this is going to be, as much as we really focus on teaching games and learning how to play on stream, this is going to be a little bit heavier on the teaching side of things. So if you have questions as a viewer, it's a great time to ask, or if you're watching later, throw them in the comments and we'll get you an answer. Let's meet our other players, though. Starting with the person who's running the stream, so that they can go back to focusing on that while everybody else talks. Let's start with Kegan. Kegan, why don't you tell people who you are, what you do, where they can find you online?
Yeah, hi, I'm Kegan. You can find me online at KeganEXE. I stream here on Plus One. That's basically it these days.
Awesome. Brina, how about you? Why don't you tell people who you are, what you do, where they can find you online?
Yeah, I'm Brina, Ratgo Games. I do get ridiculously hyper-focused and make as much TTRPG stuff as I can at the moment. Seems to be a way to keep all the terrible things in the world at bay. So yeah, that's for me, Ratgo Games.
Awesome. Glad to have you. Looking forward to playing with you for the first time also, too, after getting to get to know you better via Discord also, too. We've got somebody back, a familiar face who we've been missing for a little bit. We're glad to have back with us. That's Alex, one of the first play testers for Down We Go also, too. Alex, why don't you tell people a little bit more about who you are, what you do, where folks can find you online?
Yes. I'm so excited to be back on stream after not being able to stream for a while. In fact, I love this game so much. I once wrote a dungeon for it, a circus-themed dungeon called Clown We Go. And you can find that on my itch as well as other games. I got really into it. I wrote a whole backstory that didn't make it into the dungeon. I'm Galaxy Quest everywhere, Twitter, TikTok, itch. That's like Galaxy Quest, the 1998 cult classic sci-fi comedy film, but with my name in it. I work with a company called Strong Branch Productions. We make a sci-fi comedy podcast called The Stench of Adventure. We are crowdfunding seasons 3 and 4. That is the end of the show right now. So please, if you're like, I have a little money and I want to give it to someone making a sci-fi comedy podcast, but who is doing that? Me, I am. So yeah, that's. Oh, I also have a book. It's called The Strange Garden. You can read it. Yeah.
Awesome. I'm super excited to play with everybody. I should have just pulled out Clown We Go and surprised you. And just made that.
I wouldn't remember everything that I wrote.
We'll see. We're not actually getting to the dungeon until tomorrow, so we'll see what happens. But yeah, so this is a 2-part stream. So we're gonna do today and then tomorrow afternoon. Same time also, so if it's not afternoon where you are, then it won't be the afternoon. It'll be at whatever time it is right now. Today we're going to really kind of just get into it, get things set up, and walk through some of the stuff that I typically do as I'm getting a dungeon ready to go, and as I'm engaging players around that. So some of the things I do, I might normally do off stream, or I might normally tell players, do this before you show up. We didn't do any of that because it's raw, baby. So with that said, let's look a little bit at character creation and city creation for Down We Go. So character creation, the core rules for any character, as well as the character sheet, are all one page. So you pick a name, you pick your role or roles. So those are sneaky, mystical, holy, and bloodthirsty. These kind of blend the classic dungeon delving archetypes, but they take stat and class and abilities and kind of fuse them all into one half-page sheet. The thing that first came across my Facebook feed that Marcus shared, with some changes that we've created over time. And you pick usually just 2 of those because it's a stream and I like things to run a little bit more swiftly on stream. We are creating characters that have been on at least 1 adventure so far, so they're going to pick 3 abilities because they will have already leveled up 1 time. So with that said, let's talk through some of those, see what people are looking at, and see how people are building their characters. Does anybody have their character already built and want to kind of toss that out at the start?
Yeah, I do. I can start.
All right, hit up, Marcus.
Yeah, since you are not playing, I figured someone has to be a holy character. Seems to be your go-to role. So I'm a level 2 holy character and also 1 level of bloodthirsty in there. And so I picked 2 holy abilities because I'm level 2. I picked heal and smite. And for bloodthirsty, I picked tactics. So basically I give, if I use tactics, I give all adjacent friends +1 to hit for an entire combat.
It does look like you have intimidate selected right now. Did you want tactics instead?
No, I chose not to use that character keeper, so I have it all written down here on paper.
Oh, okay, awesome. I just want to be able to know real quick also too, so I'm going to go ahead and change that. So that way I can prompt people if they need help, being like, hey, what about this ability? I'm sure you will remember all the things, but awesome. I'm excited to learn a little bit more about your god as we get into play, or your process of worship, whatever that might look like. But I'm looking forward to hearing more about that. Awesome. Anything that we need to know about Bosco the Venerable?
Yeah, I changed my name. I'm no longer Bosco the Venerable. I am known as of now as Brother Finlow.
Awesome. Brother Finlow.
Yep.
Awesome. It looks like Kegan or someone is updating that as we go also too. So awesome. So we've got Brother Finlow in the mix, a holy character that yeah, and there's no established pantheon in Down We Go, so usually players are kind of building the gods as we play. If there's a holy character, they oftentimes get to speak a little bit more into that than other characters might. So I'm looking forward to hearing more about Brother Finlow's order or their process of worship. So cool. Let's keep on going around in the same order. Kegan, you want to tell us a little bit about your character next?
Yeah, I'm playing Harlan the Hothead. I have 2 levels of sneaky. I have hide and acrobatics, and then 1 level of bloodthirsty. I got parry.
Awesome. So we've got 2 in sneaky, 1 in bloodthirsty. Just so people know, sneaky is going to also add to your dodge rolls. So anytime you make a dodge roll, your sneaky is going to help with that. Bloodthirsty helps with hit rolls also too. Cool. Very excited to hear about Harlan the Hothead. Very excited about the items that they have in their pockets also too. I can't wait till those get pulled out in play also too. So. Very cool. And then we've got who next? Let's go to Brina. Brina, why don't you tell us about your character?
Yeah, so I've got Bleed Plenty Wimple. She is all about the bloodthirsty. She's full 3 bloodthirsty with cleave, parry, and rage. She's a sewer urchin who was basically a rat catcher or rat more of a killer. She kind of got bigger and bigger rats until she needed to start going full dungeon delving. So yeah, she has rat face, or Miss Rat Face if you're nasty, which she is, which is a giant rat skull hammer. And she also has a small bearded homunculus of a certain content creation beard oil and ttrpg purveyor.
Awesome. I'm glad you've got a small. What kind of container is the small bearded homunculus in? Like, how do they ride around?
Oh, I think there is just a really nasty pocket, like sewn of like rat hides within her like filthy robes.
Awesome. I also need to know, giant rat skull hammer. You could break that statement down a lot of different ways. Is this a giant rat skull that has been turned into a hammer? Or is this a hammer for giant rat skulls, or some other blend of how those words might break down?
Yes.
Yes.
Awesome.
I knew it.
Awesome. I can't wait to see it in action, to see Miss Rat Face in action. Awesome. Alex, why don't you tell us a little bit about your character?
All right, I sure will. Today I'll be playing Vish the Fish. So named because he is got 3 points in sneaky, so he is slippery. But also because he's descended from a line of fishmongers. So not only is he spooky, scary, hiding in the shadows, he can also never be caught without his lucky fish, which is just a dead fish that he carries around. He smells very bad.
I do love that on your because there is a bazaar in the game, and you can certainly go pick adventuring gear from that, but also it largely is broken down into, is it adventuring gear? It costs about this much. Is it different types of adventuring gear? It costs about this much, along with other random things. But I do love, and what I do when I play oftentimes is, here's 8-ish things I really just want my character to have in their pockets. And I like that you have lucky fish that is dead and unlucky fish that is alive. Can you tell us about the unlucky fish?
Yeah, so the unlucky fish is more like a weapon that like he can use when things get rough. It'll bite you, you know. So one is like a token that he carries with him at all times, and the other one is getting constantly switched out and used in combat.
Excellent. I love it. Can't wait to see it in action. Do make sure you note, if you have any armor on, go ahead and do note that in your character keeper also too, because it will matter. Also, shields and helmets do have a mechanical ability also, so you don't have to so much rename it as you might want to just note that it is that thing next to it if it is that thing. Because they can be used for different mechanical purposes. So based on the primary class somebody is, or the primary role they have, that's going to determine how many hits they have or how much damage they can take. And since everybody's level 3, they got 1 extra point because every time you go up to a third one, you go up 1 hit point. But if you're sneaky, you start with 3. If you're mystical, primarily you start with 2. If you're holy, you start with 4, and if you're bloodthirsty, you start with 5 hit points. And if it's tied for some reason, which nobody is in our setting right now, our setup, then you could just pick. There's no reason to not go with the highest unless you narratively just don't want as many hit points, and that's fine also too. And then you're going to pick up to 10 items you're going to carry, but you get common weapons and adventuring equipment. Normally, I did let people ask for some weird things. Since this is not this group's first adventure, they have been out before. But you're basically going to, the core mechanic for Down We Go from players is that you're going to roll a d20 and add whatever roll makes the most sense. So if it's to hit, it's going to be bloodthirsty. If it's to dodge, that's going to be sneaky. But if it's something that a thief might normally do, right, that might be something that is you might make a sneaky roll for also. If it's to attune to something mystically, that might be a mystical roll. If it's to divine the presence of evil spirits or good spirits in a space, you might rake a holy roll. But lots of times, if it doesn't fall underneath a specific thing clearly, or if it falls kind of out of your character's normal ability for operating things, you might make the other type of roll that's in the game, which is called a luck roll. And that is going to be usually a 50-50 chance at the beginning. You have about a 3 and 6 chance of success or failure. But if it's a specifically hard roll, I will tell you to take that likelihood down. But you might negotiate, hey, I'm going to use my unlucky fish to change my odds in this situation, or I want to use my giant rat hammer as a lever to help me. Does that change my odds at all? So it's a negotiated conversation around what it does. And your background might come into effect with that. Your skills and abilities might come into effect, but it's going to be either a D20 or a D6 roll. D20 when it's clearly part of one of the rolls, D6 when it kind of falls outside of those things. All rolls are made by players, so you will almost never see me make a roll. We'll talk about the one specific type of roll the GM can make as we go through. But typically, I'm never making any sort of rolls in the game. Any questions about any of that for everybody?
No, I don't think so.
Yeah, sounds very clear.
The most important other thing to know is if at any point in time your dice ends up on the floor, there is an optional rule that your character can die gruesome in an embarrassing way. If Kegan tries to weaponize this against me in the middle of the stream, I'll just deny them the ability to do that. I have seen Kegan do that just for fun.
I played a
not
Down We Go
against me.
game. I played 10 characters that session.
It was excellent. But we are going to start out in the grand city of Infinitopolis. Now that we know a little bit about our players, I have decided which museum, which dungeon we are going to. Out of the 5 options that are in the core book, I have not decided what version of that dungeon we are going to. We'll talk through all of that kind of stuff as we play. But we do need to know a little bit about how the faction that has hired y'all for this. I don't prep any of that in advance. If you are a prep GM and want to roll this stuff yourself in advance, you are absolutely welcome to. That's not what I'm doing, and that's not really the way the game is written. So that's not what we're doing right now. So if somebody wants to roll a D10 for me, I would love to figure out which faction has hired you. Who would like to roll that D10?
I wrote a 2 quickly. There you go.
Okay, this is the one faction I promised I wouldn't use because they come up on stream all the time. And it's my favorite faction, I'm not going to lie. It's the Dirt Lickers. They're phenomenal. They're great. The Dirt Lickers are the hiring people on almost every single thing I do. So let's go ahead. Actually, you know what? We're just going to make it an 8. We're going to make it an 8. It's going to go down from the top. 2 down instead of 2 up. So I guess the equivalent would actually be a 9, not an 8. So we are going to go to the very end. And y'all have been hired by the Seal Clubbers. Is the name of the faction that is hired. The Seal Clubbers are wear domino masks and flat caps. This group of seeming vandals roams the city to destroy all the tools of carceral containment. None should be held prisoner. No money should be miserly stored. No magical seals may bind creatures, worldly or otherworldly. Their studded clubs are made of seal-breaking iron, and they can burst a lock apart right quick. So they do not club actual seals, not animal seals. And so things that they are obsessed with are y'all would generally know from their reputation are breaking locks, redistributing wealth, freeing demons. The symbol of this group is a metal club. And they are aligned very strongly against another faction known as the Sinuous Rills. who love to measure and lock things down. So it's one of the few faction conflicts we see in the game. But they have asked you, they have called you to their headquarters. Let's go ahead and do a little just paint the scenes and demonstrate some of kind of the narrative realities of Down We Go. Also, too, paint the scene is not written into the book, but it is a type of technique that you would see a lot, to be asking the players to kind of speak into the reality of what the world around them looks like. It's popularized by Jason Cordova through a lot of things, but it is a good way to just kind of dive in and get used to asking the players questions, which is a huge part of Down We Go. Describe to me a little bit about what it looks like as each of your characters approaches the Seal Clubber's headquarters, and describe one physical detail that lets you know that this is the at least temporary headquarters of this crew of ne'er-do-wells. Marcus, why don't you stop? What is one thing you see on the outside of this location that lets you know this is a temporary headquarters for the Seal Clubbers?
That the doors are wide open.
The doors are wide open. Excellent. So
Yep.
all the doors and windows on this building have been pushed wide open. Alex, what's something that your character notices as they approach that marks this as a Seal Clubber's temporary HQ?
I see a guy who's practicing his club swing right outside the doors, getting that steel clubbing practice in.
Awesome. Is he using it on something, or is this like a mid-air, like hyper visualization swing?
So when I first said it, I was thinking it was on the air, but now that you mention it, I feel like he's just got like a very unfortunate wooden chest that is just constantly splintering, that is like clearly seen so much club practice.
Awesome. Love it. Brina, how about you? What's one thing that marks this as a Seal Clubber's temporary HQ?
Yeah, I think they've just got off lucky, although I think Alex may have be creating a mimic out of spite. But what they see is there is a very rich person from the next town over who is hung upside down from a piece of rope, who is often used as a piñata and club practice.
I love it. How do you know? But I mean, is it there? What is it about them that tells you that they're wealthy? Is it their mode of dress? Is it just the fact that they're hung upside down and people are beating them? What is the way you know? Well, especially to bleed plenty, is the fact that they have a number of colors on them. But the thing that really stands out is they have one of the classic kind of old school like British barrister wigs that has been hammered on so it stays on while they're upside down. Awesome.
And
And
people forget who they're practicing their clubbing on.
it's like three people in a row practicing their clubbing, all on different things, and it each gets progressive. One person swinging into the air, one person breaking a chest, and then one person beating this barrister bedeckled individual upside down. Kegan, for you, what do we see that marks this as a Seal Clubber's headquarter?
Yeah, as you said, this is like temporary, right?
Yeah, they don't strike me as the kind of faction that's like, we stick her in one spot for very long. They seem the kind that probably moves around intentionally.
Yeah, I think to that end, then there is a series of like well-made clubs sort of just piled in a corner. I think any other faction would have probably put them up on a wall, but they've just moved around so much they've stopped. They've given up on actually decorating with them, and they just do take them from place to place now.
Just drop them in the corner. I love it. So as you enter into the fan, let's say this is an old bank that has been bust open. The wealth inside poured out and long gone. Now, you're brought back into the depths, past the teller desks, through the manager's office, to a vault that is in the process. As you walk up, you hear the final clink, clink, clank of them opening this vault. As you approach, there may be a moment at which you're like, oh my gosh, they're cracking the vault right as we get here. We're going to get some of this money. Until as they open it up, you could tell this was just a practice run. And you come inside facing three different members of the Seal Clubbers, each carrying one carrying a bronze, one carrying a silver, and one carrying a gold colored club that tap them against each other's and then turn to face you kind of in semi-unison and look at you kind of worried. Have any of you worked with the seal clubbers before?
I don't think so. Not Finlow.
I think I'm a transfer from the Dirt Lickers.
I want to say that that Vish has, because the reason that he left the fishmongering business is he decided that fish should be free, and so he resonates with their message.
Awesome. So you're a monger no longer.
Monger no longer.
Awesome. Did you consider joining up with the seal clubbers, or is it like, hey, I've got a different vision for what I want than just clubbing all of the different seals around?
Yeah. Well, when Vish was young and foolish, he tried, but they were like, "You smell too bad." It was the lucky fish. So he was like, you know what? I'm going to do my own thing. And then he found he was really good at sneaking around, and he stuck with that. But they still have like a good relationship.
Awesome. Excellent. Anyone else? Kegan, does your character have any connections with the fishmonger or the seal clubbers?
No, I don't think so.
Yeah. So they turn and they look to you, Vish, and make kind of a knowing nod, and they say, "It's happening. The valley is opening up, and we're looking for some folks to get in, find a few pages of a book that's been lost, and bring it back to us. Would you be interested in a little bit of work?"
Before I answer, I want to ask a little mechanical question.
Sure.
I have the ability. Hold on, let me pull this up.
This is contacts.
Yeah, I want to know. Can I use that to already know more about what they're talking about? Like already have some background information before I answer.
Absolutely, you can. So go ahead and spend a use of contacts. So for anybody out there watching, every character, depending on the level that you have in a role. So Vish has 3 in sneaky. You're going to get 3 uses of any of the abilities that you have per day, right? So especially in stage setting scenes, when you're just kind of know you're going to be moving through something very quickly, you should use abilities as liberally as you possibly can, because they are going to reset within a day of game time. So 100% burn that use of contacts if you want to know a little bit more about what they're talking about, and that's an automatic success. There is no die roll that comes with that. So you as they say the valley has opened up again, that there is a long running kind of aggressive competition between the sinuous reels and the seal clubbers in a number of areas, but one of high concern for them is a place called the Valley of Splendor Past. This is something that they when you were kind of chumming up to them when you were younger, when you were getting to know them and a little bit more about their mission, this is an area that they have a lot of concern about, because it's a valley that seems to magically and miraculously only be accessible during certain times. In a lot of ways, they view it as the ultimate seal that needs to be clubbed. Like, this valley should be accessible all the time. There's no reason it should be cut off during certain times. Whereas the sinuous rails love the fact that it is, and would love nothing more than the opposite, to seal it off for all time and making it completely inaccessible. So when they mention that the valley is here and that it's opened up, you can only imagine that they are talking about the Valley of Splendor Past.
Okay, great. He is going to nod knowingly, stroking his lucky fish as though it is a hairless cat, and say, "Excellent. It is time. My siblings in arms and clubs. To the valley."
How does everybody else respond to this interaction?
I guess we're going to the valley.
We most certainly are.
He's going to turn over his shoulder and say, "Oh yeah, you guys can come too."
We're going for pages.
Yes. So there is an ancient ritual that has pages spread across the valley. We'd be happy to pay handsomely for any of these pages, but if you can happen to achieve collecting the full codex, well, we'll include you in all the rewards that come with that.
Okay, you said money. That's cool. That's cool. I'm not a big reader. That's all. I was a bit concerned.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, for sure. I mean, money, and then like he like just take out a big cloth bag full of like cash, and they just chuck it at you. If you want to roll me, if you want to roll me a D66 or roll 2D6 and use them as the tens and the one slot.
Yeah, 43.
So it's about 430 coin worth of money in this cloth bag that they toss over to you. Yeah, there are a bunch of these laying around. Most of them are gone now. We got them out, out into the world. But this is for you to get started.
I would have done it on principle, but this is nice too. I'll still take some.
Are we gonna pay?
No. I think this is for me
as
right?
well.
Oh
yeah. This is just some walking around money. I mean, we can, I mean, this one's empty, but we'll crack open another one when you get back and get you paid.
This is a lot better than the dirt liquors.
Yeah. They would have paid us in dirt.
It would have been really good dirt.
Yeah, true.
Really rich soil.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so they test you about 430 coin worth of walking around money to get started. So they and if there's other questions you'll have you want to ask, feel free to. But essentially, they want you to find the pages for this ritual book. They give you a loose map of the valley and what they know about it, but it literally is just like, hey, here's two mountain ranges. There's a valley in between, and they have put some X's and some question marks at different places on the map. It's tremendously not helpful overall to know exactly what you need to do or where you need to go. And there are some kind of different notes scrawled around the edges, but none of them particularly make sense upon your first read.
Are they able to tell us anything about the plumbing situation in this area? Like, is there anything like underground that's really where it kind of like thrives?
In the area you're in right now, or in the Valley of Splendor Pass?
Not only a Splendor Pass, but if there's a way to get to the Splendor Pass through the sewers, all the better.
Sewers into the edge of the city. It's about the edge of the valley looks like it's about a day out right now. We don't know how long it's going to be open for, but you should probably get headed that way. If you leave tomorrow morning, you'll be fine. But I wouldn't waste too much time getting ready to go. But yeah, sewers into the edge of the city. So, and I think the flush is coming at the end of this week. So it wouldn't be the way I would want to travel, but to each their own.
It's about that time for me to have my yearly bath, so it could work out well.
But they said, as far as the valley itself, they don't know the plumbing situation specifically one way or the other in the valley. Any other questions?
Is the valley inhabited?
Well, I mean, they don't call it the Valley of Splendor Past for nothing. I mean, it used to be inhabited, and so I mean, I guess there's a chance that it's still inhabited. But surely, there's going to be some people there. There'll be creatures there. Who can really say until we get there? And by we, I mean you.
Yeah.
And I'm looking to find out when you get back.
There could be big rats.
Could be. All right. So I don't think we have any more questions. We should probably stock up, gear up, get some like a horse or a mule or something. We found somebody had tied up a horse earlier and a couple of mules. We untied them. So if you go outside, they might still be there.
It's
Awesome.
worth checking.
Yep.
Yeah. Creatures generally like me. I just, I have a creature kind of vibe. So probably if I hang out long enough, one of them will come up to me.
You definitely have the vibe of a creature.
Yeah, thank you. I get that a lot. And he has a little fish like shimmy.
Perfect.
So as y'all head out, somebody make a D3 roll for me, or if you want to make a luck roll, you can make a luck roll. Actually, say Alex, if you want to make a luck roll to see if these mules and horse have stuck around just to hang out with you, you can make a luck roll. Anybody else can make a D3 roll, and we'll see how many of them.
Can you remind me what a luck, like how?
Yeah, so luck roll starts as D6. It's usually 50-50 chance, right? So you would have a 50-50 chance that these creatures have just hung around because they heard you were coming and wanted to do it.
You're a bit of a celebrity with horses.
You're a bit of a celebrity with animals. So, there's a 50-50 chance they had heard you were coming and wanted to stick around. And again, this would be, you could say, oh, I think it should be a little bit higher because of this. I could say, oh, I think it's be a little bit lower because of that. I am going to say, I think it's a little bit lower because I think there's been a lot of people in and out here all day long. And the vibe of the place is, if it's not nailed down, take it. And also nothing is nailed down. And so I'm going to say you only have like a 2 and 6 chance, which would mean you need to roll a 5 or a 6 in order for them to still be there. But you could, again, try to push that back down a little bit.
I want to argue real fast, Tony. You said nothing's nailed down, but famously the wig is nailed down to the barrel.
Except the wig.
Except the wig is hammered down. That is true. And actually, I will say specifically, Brina did not say nailed down. Brina said the wig was hammered down. And so I would argue that is my statement is still accurate.
Okay, I'll give you that.
Technically correct, the best kind.
That's kind of being correct.
I'm trying to think if I have a reason that I could try to bring it back up. The only thing I can think of is the scent of fish that's just kind of always wafting off a dish might be interesting to animals. They might want to sniff it out, see what's going on.
Sure. I don't know that I think there are plenty of animals
or cats.
you could make that argument for. I don't think horses are one of them.
Okay, no, that's really fair. That's so fair. Okay, all right.
Here's what we're going to establish. You're going to go outside. You're going to find at least one animal, right? Like, I'm going to let you know that this is. Did all 3 of them stick around because that one animal was like,
okay, great.
A fish is coming.
Got it. Well, I got a 5.
There you go. So you go outside and immediately, actually, there are 2 horses and 2 mules out here. Conveniently, one of them did leave, but it went to go get its friend and bring them back because it heard the fish was going to be here, or so you think. For whatever reason, with a 5, there are 4 pack animals out here that are just kind of wandering around. But when you come out, they do all kind of orient themselves towards the open door and look expectantly at you.
And whether or not it is in actuality because of me, I definitely think it's because of me. I'm 100%. Like, oh,
Fish?
My brethren, I'm so glad to see you. I have a mission for you. You must join us.
Fish might be a horse celebrity.
And they say,
and I say, I know. Quiet, my love.
Cool. So y'all have certainly each acquired a pack animal of your choosing. I'll let y'all decide how you want to distribute them, horses to mules. But they seem fairly even-tempered, happy to go along with you. And they are, the mules are packed to carry and the horses are packed to ride. So, whoever these were, they're yours now. And so you can mark them down on just, a note that you have a horse. If you want to name the horse, feel free to. If you want to become deeply emotionally attached to the horse, I encourage it so that, when I eventually take the horse away from you, it's tragic.
I'm claiming a mule.
Excellent.
Interesting. I was going to go for the 2 mules because Blue Plenty is a big girl, but maybe she'll take a horse and a mule and just be like, just at a weird angle.
I'll go ahead and take a horse.
Awesome.
And I will name it Horse.
I name it Horse, expecting it to die. Awesome. As you climb on the horses, is there anywhere in the city that you wanted to visit before you depart? Did you want to head to the bazaar to try to buy anything? Did you want to go down to the docks and see if there's any hired hands? Is there anything that you want to do or explore as you kind of before you head out, or are y'all wanting to hit the road and head out to the valley as quickly as possible?
No, I want to wait. Traveling at night seems like a good idea.
Traveling at night seems like a good idea.
Yeah,
it's always an option. You got plenty of day ahead of you.
All right. Does anybody need anything? Should we head to the bazaar?
Yeah, we have some walking around money. We should walk around at least.
Should walk around a little bit at least.
Yep.
Awesome. So the way that the city works in Down We Go, and the way that Infinitopolis is built, is it is a constantly changing and growing city. You start when you're creating the city the first time by drawing 9 adjoining circles of various sizes. So I've created a GM board where I have done that, and then we kind of place the 6 main districts that always exist into those different sections. So where do y'all want to be starting out at? What district is this? We've got Bazaar, Temple, Gardens, Pleasure Dome, Slums, or Noble Quarters? Where was this that y'all were at?
I feel like this was the Noble Quarters, just because I feel like that's where we would have put a bank.
Yeah, do it.
Makes sense.
All right.
Yeah.
So Noble Quarters, we're going to put right here. Let's see. And then we're trying to get to, and the way it would be, you normally populate all of these. I tend to populate the ones that matter as we go. But normally we would go through and write all of these, and we're going to write Noble Quarters in for sure. And y'all are headed towards the bazaar right now. Is that correct?
Yep.
All right. We're going to call this the bazaar right here. I can remember how to spell bazaar right, or if I spell it a bizarre way. And then we would have the, we'll call this the Gardens. We'll call this the Pleasure Dome. We will call this. We're going to call this the Slums, because I like it when the slums are not a big part of the city. I like to think that we've all pulled ourselves collectively away from slums. And then that is the core 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm missing one. What am I missing? Temple. This is the Temple. Awesome. And then we're going to have a couple of other parts of the city that are currently here right now. Can I get 3d6 roll? Brina, will you roll a d6 for me?
That is a 4.
So we're going to put the docks. Let's put the docks right here. Big old docks. Big dock action right now. And then Kegan, will you roll a d6 for me?
Yeah, I just rolled. It was a 5.
Rolled a 5. The Academy. All right. And then Alex, how about you? Give me one more d6 roll and re-roll if it's either of those two numbers.
I don't remember what the first number was, but I got a 6.
You got a 6. So the sewers are over here. There we go. All right. So this would be kind of our rough map of the city. When you leave and go back from the city, it'll change as you kind of come in and go out. So we'll always see some of these things be here, but you might not always be able to access certain parts of the city as it kind of shifts and changes around the needs of the populace. So awesome. So you're in the Noble District right now. You're headed to the bazaar. You're going to pass through. You can either go up to the Pleasure Domes or to the Gardens. You can also go from one and then to the other, though that would not be an effective way to do things. But you can either go from the gardens to the temple to the bazaar, or you can go from the noble district into the pleasure dome and then directly to the bazaar.
I hear the gardens are nice this time of year, and seems like a good quiet spot for me to do some meditating.
Yeah, I'm fine to go through the gardens.
Mhm.
We have walking around money. We should walk around.
We got some walking around money. All right. So as you enter into the gardens, and Marcus, since it was your idea and I didn't have you roll something yet, roll a d4 for me.
Mm-hmm. That's 4.
All right. These are the elusive gardens right now. So and down we go. Every single time you enter, you roll an adjective to see what is kind of happening right here. What type of Oh, sorry, that's not. I did the wrong one. These are the towering gardens. Elusive is a different thing. These are the towering gardens. Other options would have been sacred, miraculous, or floating. But as you're passing through, I'd love to hear from each of you as you're passing through the towering gardens. Alex, what do the flowers here smell like? What's a flower that you see nearby? And as it has some sort of scent war with Vish's fish aroma. What kind of flowers do we smell?
Yeah, I'm gonna say the flowers smell cinnamony.
Cinnamony. What?
Yeah.
Awesome. So we had the heavy scent of cinnamon and Vish the fish doing battle in the air around y'all as you travel through the gardens. Kegan, exactly how big is that mushroom?
It would be massive if you were really tiny, which is to say there are a number of small things that probably live in it.
Awesome. So you kind of see these small creatures darting in and out of these mushrooms. Are the mushrooms where the cinnamon scent is coming from, or is that a different? It
is where the cinnamon scent is coming from, but it's not the mushrooms. It's they're cooking something in the mushrooms.
What are they cooking, Kegan?
Fuck, what's cinnamon? Some sort of cake.
There you go. Awesome. Love it. Brina, you see a big tree in the distance. What is odd about this big tree that you see looming high above you?
Like it has big branches that are kind of in a very grumpy pose, and just this huge menacing face, but not where you normally see faces on fantasy trees. It's right up under the canopy, and it just seems to catch your eye as you walk through the forest. The garden.
Love it. And then Marcus, who is the crazy looking person chasing butterflies?
That's Ursula, the butterfly collector. She has the largest collection of butterflies and other flying insects in Infernopolis.
Awesome. Love it.
She's trying to find the last one, the golden something butterfly. Yeah.
She's almost caught them all, but has not yet.
Yep.
I imagine the seal clubbers are not a fan of Ursula keeping all those butterflies in captivity.
Absolutely not. No, notorious enemy. If they nailed up pictures on walls, they don't. But if they did, hers would be nailed up. Instead, there's just a loose kind of general impression of her smeared in noxious substances on any of their temporary HQs. Now, if I was going through and I was playing over time, I might just invite everybody to answer one question or two questions. But since we are doing just a two-shot, we went ahead and went through all the questions. But you can just kind of decide what is odd about the trees here. What is that? Or have everybody share what a flower they notice smells like. But the goal is that anytime we come to a place, that players kind of get a chance to speak into exactly and specifically kind of what is happening within that space. Also, as you travel between districts, and since Marcus, you were leading the way through the Towering Gardens, I do need you to roll a d20 and a d6 for me to see what type of encounter you have as you arrive on the edge of the gardens.
Yeah, I rolled 2 3s.
2
3 and 3.
2 3s. All right. So we are encountering You do have a series of alka freaks who are hiding in the bushes at the edge of the gardens. Go ahead and make an alertness roll for me, Marcus, if you will, to kind of see if you notice. It's going to be a luck roll, and we're looking for a 4, 5, or 6 to see if you notice. Do you have any bloodthirsty?
I do. One level bloodthirsty, and I rolled 3.
Well, excellent. So that's going to give you a little bit of an extra edge. You know what it's like to fight somebody. You do all of a sudden catch sight of these alka freaks hanging out on the edge of the garden district. Looks like they're waiting to drop on them. These are basically poor, misunderstood alchemical mishaps. These are homunculi who didn't quite take shape the way they needed to, creatures whose bodies have been warped, sentient sludge piles, but as a grouping of creatures are generally just called alka freaks. But you do notice that they are kind of hanging off some branches and hiding in these bushes at the edge of the towering gardens. What do you do?
I hold my left hand up and alert my fellow travelers. Alka freaks over there in the trees. How many are there?
There are. You notice one hanging off a branch and another one hiding in a bush across the way.
Vish is gonna kind of whisper, as someone who has often been called a sentient sludge pile, I prefer the term alka friends.
Okay.
Noted. Alka friends. Okay.
And you do bleed plenty. Bleed plenty. You do feel like a mild stirring in your pocket whenever the good brother calls them alka freaks.
Yeah, I think we should talk to them about how lasagna is a sandwich and how cake is worse than Twitter discourse about TTRPGs. I think is what I'm hearing.
Exactly. That's the noise coming out of your pocket.
Yeah.
Like, are they normally hostile? What do we know about alka freaks?
Alka freaks. Alka friends.
Alka friends. I'm sorry.
Alka friends want to hug you, and impart some of their alchemical existence to you. And so they are known for trying to drop on people or capture people in order to mutate them into more alka friends.
Okay, well that sounds bad.
Yeah. as much as I respect them, I don't want to become one. So let's still avoid
Sort of
our
like
friends.
a cult scenario where, like, I think they should be allowed to practice it, but I don't necessarily want to join. I can.
Yeah,
share.
exactly. But
Okay.
I personally don't want to be an alka friend.
Yeah.
Everyone's understanding just dried up very quickly there. Bleed plenty notices.
The question is, do you want to try to rush past them? Do you want to try to fight your way through? Do you want to sneak through? They are pretty intent on the path that you are walking up. You could also just try to push out into the hedgerow that goes around the garden. That's kind of just protective barrier to just try to kind of avoid them also too.
Yeah. Can I hide with my two-pronged question. Can I hide, like the ability capital H hide?
Yeah.
With my horse, but also while moving through the shadows, like hide my way across.
I think what abilities do you have?
I have hide, contacts, and lockpicking.
Yeah. I like this because hide is an ability that really is like it's meant to be like, hey, you disappear into the shadows. It's not usually movement oriented.
Sure.
I do like this idea though. You, I think, can get your horse and you into kind of a shadowy part of the lane. And if you slow down, you think you can you can clomp by without them noticing you.
Okay.
Yeah, I think I want to just sort of sneak past them.
Okay. So Kegan, you are attempting to just sneak past. It sounds like you're trying to potentially make a sneaky roll.
Yes.
Why don't you roll d20 plus 2 and see if you can sneak past these alka freaks on your horse.
Yeah, that's a 7.
The 7. You are doing great. They don't so much notice you as they notice. Did you grab a mule or a horse?
I have a mule.
The mule just stops right in front of where the one is hanging above the tree and just starts like chomping on the leaves of the bush. The one is hiding in.
Come on, Jack. Now's a bad time to be hungry. Let's move.
Before anything happens, does anybody else have something that they want to do?
I think I'll just walk right up, feeling very confident that my goddess will protect me against these Alke friends.
Okay.
So I just walk up.
To them, or do you just like stop next to Jack and Harlan?
Yeah, I noticed the mule like slowing Harlan down, so I grab the mule by the reins and just in my stride, just try to drag it along with me.
Awesome. I love it. Let's go ahead and roll an initiative roll just to see how things come out. So if I can get one of you to roll a d6 for me, or if anybody has alertness, this could be a time to use it to just win initiative. But you can roll a d6 for me. If you get a 4, 5, or 6, y'all are going to act first. If you get a 1, 2, or 3, the Alka freaks are going to act, or friends are going to act.
4.
All right. So you go to pull Jack and Harlan forward. Go ahead and make a luck roll for me, a d6 roll to see how that goes.
5.
Awesome. So you get forward just as one of them, the one in the tree up above, like drops exactly where Harlan and Jack were. It kind of splats out across the ground and starts then slowly kind of gathering itself back together into this kind of short humanoid form. As the other one goes, and like you see a rope get pulled that was probably meant to be tied to something on the other side, but instead the rope just gets pulled across the road that you were gathering across, just towards it, and then you hear and that's what
That's what they do.
That's what they do as you get out of the way. I think everybody except for currently Bleed Plenty is on the other side of where these Alka freaks are. Bleed Plenty, are you going to try to push past, or what is your plan?
Bleed Plenty, who has a real like a few years ago Miss McCarthy, but just really grotty kind of vibes. She's currently like doing the splits across her mule and horse. And please tell me if this name and this idea is too much, just so I can get an idea of the vibe. But she is going to be riding. She's going to pull Piss Baby from her robes and hold him up to try and act as an ambassador to communicate with the Alka friends.
I'm assuming Piss Baby is your small bearded homunculus. Is that correct?
That is correct. Yeah. That's why I was checking in about the tone and if that was.
Oh, if that's correct. Oh, that's fine. Yeah, 100%. Piss Baby. Piss Baby. Piss Baby. So the reason Piss Baby was so inexpensive to get, is really that Piss Baby is a marketing ploy. So all Piss Baby does is like it starts immediately talking to the two homunculi, but is just spouting endless like catchphrases and like buzzwords, trying to sell bespoke alchemical substances for a brand that you like a alchemist in the bazaar. Like he gave out a whole bunch of Piss Babies, though other people may have named their homunculi differently. He gave out a whole bunch of these homunculi specifically as a way to kind of natively market his alchemical goods and wares. So they are just small versions of him that just tell you about like the great independently owned and operated alchemical co-op that they're trying to start, and all the different formularies they have by different creators, and the alchemically bespoke lotions and ointments that all these just things start coming out of its mouth. However, I do like this. You make a holy roll, which would be a D20 roll. If you want to make a luck roll, I'm pretty into this. You make a luck roll to see if Piss Baby catches their attention or not.
Okay, so D6 is for luck, or the D20 for
D6
holy.
yeah, and I would say as long as you don't roll a 1 in this situation, I think you've captured these things.
Okay,
with Piss Baby.
so I got a 4.
Yeah. So they're pretty into Piss Baby's pitch, and they this is one of their own, or something very similar to them talking. So you have their attention, like the one that was behind the bush holding the rope, like kind of pushes their way through it. It's not pleasant to watch them kind of extrude through the bush, but they are now both standing there listening to Piss Baby's pitch about this alchemist in the bazaar.
Yeah, so Blue Plenty's just gonna add like, so yeah, we're cool, right? So yeah, we're all good. She's not one for speeches, but like, so we'll just go, and not. She points at Miss Ratface. Like,
yeah, they like seem pretty like disinterested now in y'all as a whole, and are like, okay, like these folks, they get it, like, and they kind of like, you see the one that had kind of oozed up start to move back into its position on the tree, and the other one kind of like take the rope back across to the other side of the road, lay it down on the other side again, and then pull it back out across the thing and get back in its position behind the bush.
I think it will say like, hide that to something to be more effective.
And you see it like pick it up and like it just like loops it around something and then gets back over to where it was.
That's closer. They're halfway there.
Yeah.
Cool. So while you're in the city, you pass through the gardens. It takes you, about an hour to make your way through, unless you want to stop and rest in the luscious spaces of the garden. But if you're just keeping on heading, it takes about an hour to get across.
I have a question about the homunculus. So is the homunculus almost like a talking a talking doll, but like it's a creature, or is it like a sentient being?
Yes.
Yeah, depends on, homunculus can come in, it depends on how developed they are. What they can and cannot do. But they essentially have a spark of the original persons whose genetic material they were created with, intelligence and awareness that can be then built upon or built up to the point where eventually they could become a full clone of that person if alchemically sustained over time. But they could also just be like an empty vessel, essentially, that would be used for, whatever.
Would it be conceivable that a former fishmonger turned, like, I guess he's kind of an assassin. Sure, why not? He's sneaky. Would have never encountered a homunculus before? Is that reasonable?
100%. Yeah, I mean, like, there would be no reason in the normal course of monging. You might have heard about like alchemical clones that are used as counter assassin, decoys, but that would probably be the only thing that you would vaguely be aware of, and you may not necessarily know the technical what they are.
Okay, great. Because I want him to go up to Bleed Plenty and be like, "Who is that distinguished gentleman? He had a really interesting pitch."
Oh, Piss Baby?
Mr. Piss Baby, yes.
Yeah,
Have you?
they're okay. Like, unfortunately, this is the Kegan model. I'm trying to save up to like like boosted to kind of Sarah levels, but we'll see how it goes.
It's so nice to meet them, and he shakes their hand.
I just caught the DMPC chat in the his baby is not a DMPC. They're a PC NPC. I at no point going to fully embody myself into Piss Baby. Anybody who's watching this, Piss Baby is a homunculus of me. If you have not picked that up yet, so, and this is not a self-insert because someone else inserted Piss Baby into the page.
Who could have done such a thing?
Tony, I saw you write Piss Baby on Brina's character sheet. I can go through the edits if
and prove it. So as you make friends with Piss Baby across the way, y'all make your way through. You take note of some of those sites, all these miniature cakes that have been placed out on the edge of this mushroom village to cool, all the people trying to catch every single one of all the legendary butterflies within the towering gardens. And as you make your way to the edge, you now come. You can see the temple, the garden, the other side of the gardens. And the temple district is up ahead. Brina, why don't you roll a D4 for me, please?
D4. 3.
A 3. And it would be good if I was actually on the sheet I needed before I had you roll the thing, but I didn't. And
Stop
so
writing your Piss Baby fan fiction.
Stop writing my Piss Baby fanfic. I mean, how can I stop? As you enter into the fragile temple district, Brina, do you have an idea about what maybe makes the temple here fragile? Like what is it particularly? Is it just an ancient temple? Was it built to be a reflection of the ephemerality of the embodied world? What is it fragile about it, and why is it potentially fragile?
I think an element of it is the impermanence of the world, but I think like it is made from like very thin bone china, so it's just covered in those like hairline fractures of like antique like china and stuff.
I have a world question.
Yes.
Is there like an equivalent of OSHA in Infinitopolis?
No, absolutely not. Well, okay. Is there an authoritative group like OSHA? Absolutely not. Is there probably a city faction that has taken up the banner of worker care and concern? Absolutely. There's at least 3 of them. They are constantly fighting with each other, and they all have different posters posted in the back room of most workplaces. But I don't know if that's helpful for you right now or not.
I was just curious if we see this and we're like, no, that breaks some codes.
I mean, maybe. Let's go with Marcus. Marcus, what deity is worshipped here?
The god of warm embraces, and his name is Dave.
Dave, the god of warm embraces.
I love Dave.
God, the next question is, what's this deity's domain? But I feel like warm embraces is so good, we're just gonna let that flow. Kegan, what is the symbol of Dave? The god of warm embraces.
I think it is just like a little sigil with like a teacup on it. The teacup has like a little crack running down it and some steam coming out the top.
I love it. And then Alex, how do the priests here dress?
They've got like big sweaters. They're great for
Angora sweaters.
I'm never leaving this district.
Big cozy indoor sweaters. Awesome. As you make your way through and into the district, can I get somebody to Kegan? How about you roll a D20 and a D6 for me, and we'll see what kind of encounter y'all have.
Sure. The D20 is a 20, and the D6 is a 1.
Did we get a warm embrace?
I rolled that on camera too.
Do you get a warm embrace? We're about to find out together.
Oh no.
Kegan, I need you to roll again for me.
The 20 and the 1 again?
Do what?
Sorry, the D20 and the D6.
Yeah, actually, I need you to roll twice more for me.
Okay.
I like how you're doing it on stream so that we all know it's all on the up and up.
You
too.
know, it's how I was rolling dice, and it was in the other tab. The D20s are an 11 and a 15, and the D6s are a 6 and a 2.
All right, so we've got 6 and a 2. We've got and an 11 and a 6. Sorry, a 6, a 2. Woo! A 2 and a what's above the 2?
15.
2 and a 15. All right, and we've got a
11 and a 6.
Yeah. 6. Excellent. Excellent. You have come upon what looks like a lonely dog catcher who is being tried here of all places in the fragile temple of Dave, God of Warm Embraces, a dog catcher who's being tried and for public execution because he has not taken care of the rabid dog problem in the city. And so there are tons of captured rabid dogs in cages, and it looks like Dave is about to be executed by the temple guards for failing to capture all of the rabid dogs that have been swarming through the temple district. Do y'all want to get involved with this or keep on passing?
I can see the look on Alex's face. You said the dogs are in cages, and Alex went.
We can't have that. We can't have that.
I mean, it is. I mean, not that it matters. And if you need to uncage the dogs, I highly encourage you to. It is clear that these dogs are rabid. Like, it is clear that these dogs are rabid and dangerous, but they also are in cages, and they also are good boys, like all dogs are. And so
Exactly.
one of them is probably the goodest boy, and you might need to find out which one. And it looks like, Dave is potentially about to not Dave himself, but the high priest of Dave, in a floor length Angora sweater, looks like they are about to have the temple guards bring down a giant porcelain with a gold edged cleaver onto the dog catcher's head because they failed to capture all the dogs. With your concern about the dogs in cages, Vish, you do notice that there are other dogs in the alleyways looking on and whimpering at this site.
Aw.
We gotta. Actually, you know what? I think Vish is probably gonna verbalize that to the rest of the group. Be like, we can't stand for this. We are working for the seal clubbers, and we can't possibly live with ourselves if we don't go club some seals right now. Metaphorically, of course, or literally. We could let those dogs loose.
Yeah.
All right. Okay, let them loose.
Agreed.
Not smash them in the cages. Okay, cool. Yeah. Of course.
This just doesn't feel like what Dave would want, to me at least, to execute this poor dog catcher.
Are you a practicing Davist? Did you grow up a Davist? Are you just familiar with the
I think
general
this is,
tenets of
in
Dave?
fact, the first time I've come across it was.
Very possible. You're like, I just cannot imagine a good god named Dave who would want this.
Yeah, I feel like we're walking through the district. It's like, this is the district for Dave, the god of warm embraces, and then there's an execution just in the middle of the temple, and something is off to me.
Yeah, and I imagine we all felt Dave's power as we entered. Like, we felt that warmth and we felt that love, and it just the juxtaposition. We were like, oh, this is off.
We felt his divinity.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Would you? Do you want to intervene?
Yeah.
Are you going to try to have any? Is there any conversation that happens here, or is it just we start letting these captured dogs loose?
conversation like with the executioners or
with
the priests?
with the temple guards or the high priest of Dave.
I think that Vish would just go for, because he's a sneaky little guy. Conversation, not his thing. I think he's gonna try to sneak past the guards and just get right to the dogs.
That's fine. It's going to be very, very easy to do so
Oh,
because
great.
they are mostly focused on killing the dog catcher and not on the dogs themselves.
Yeah.
So go ahead and give me a sneaky roll. Go ahead and give it to me with advantage.
Is that D20 or D6?
D20 plus any sneaky you have, which is
plus
3.
my sneaky. Okay,
Yep.
great. With advantage. Ooh, baby. Okay. Well, that will be 16.
Awesome. So you get up, you're right on these cages as like the droning of the temple, like the high priest stops and all of a sudden like there's the tinkling of teacups on the gentle tinkling of teacups on what do you call it, saucers, as everybody kind of applauds this long speech about why the dog catcher must die. You are right there. Does it, before you unleash these dogs, is there anything anybody else is doing at this moment?
Yeah, I'm gonna walk up to the high priest and the guards and like pretend to speak in tongues, maybe, just to further give Vish some cover.
I love it. So you are a holy character. Tell us about your goddess, Marcus. Like who is your goddess? What does she/they do? Like what is the vibe we're getting?
My goddess is called Krax, and she is the goddess of hidden desires. And I'm on a pilgrimage. Every monk on a pilgrimage gets a bronze glove that I punch people with, my enemies, my adversaries. And I cannot return to my temple before I find the one target who will not let me hit them. And that target is the object of my heart's desire.
Okay. That's
so
great.
At any given time when I try to punch someone, the blow might not land. And then I know.
Then you know.
Yeah.
Awesome.
I have a question about that. Is it like the supernatural force like compels you, like throws your blow astray, and that's how you know it's the object of your heart's desire? Or is it like the one person who goes, no, don't hit me, and then you're like, it's you?
No, they're not aware of it. I think it's just
they're not
like
aware.
The spirit of Krax herself is imbued in the glove.
My question is going to be: does just missing mean that, or do you have to like try to swing a couple of times just to make sure?
No, it's like I'm when I'm certain I'm about to hit, and the blow just stops like an inch.
Gotcha.
It's not just like if your aim is a little off, you might be like, guess we're in love.
Excellent. All right. So, are you? I mean, you can be pretending to speak in tongues, or you're a holy character. If you want to try to actually speak in tongues, that's fine with me. You, as a player, do not have to do it. But if you want,
I will actually try to speak in tongues.
Sure.
I kind of want to know what Dave's tongues sound like. You know?
Yeah. I mean, I think Dave's tongues is kind of the clattering saucer and cup. So what is it? I mean, you don't have to make the noise. Is this just like normal, like speaking in tongues, like random vocalizations start coming out of your character?
I want to try to create like a cozy vibe, like a hugging, warm embrace kind of vibe in this crowd.
Speak in tongues to create a cozy vibe is great. Yeah,
During
no.
execution.
I think that speaking in tongues happens automatically. I'm not going to have you roll for that.
We've killed Tony.
Let's D20 plus. Actually, no. Do a luck roll. Don't roll a 1, because you've got 2 in holy, and I love this. Don't roll a 1.
That is a 1. That is a 1.
You did roll.
I rolled a 1.
Heretic.
Krax is not here today.
Actually, the opposite. So here's what happens. Like you go to do this. All of a sudden, like the high priest looks at you, and for a second you can tell like he's got this like soft look on his face. He's walking up to you. He's got his arms spread wide as if he's about to give you a hug. And then you start speaking in tongues. And all of a sudden, the spirit of Cracks manifests in the precision reality of her very name itself. All of a sudden, all of the porcelain around you just begins to splinter, crack, and fall apart. The benefit of this for the dog catcher is like the axe itself was made of gold-edged porcelain, so like that cracks in half, falls off like right next to his head. He absolutely just wets himself, but is not dead. As all of a sudden, rabid dogs are unleashed, I think, at this exact moment, by Vish, and all of a sudden, they swarm the crowd itself. So Brina, roll 2d8 for me.
One and two. So it's a 6 and a 1.
Okay, so 7 rabid dogs, three that were in cages, 4 from the alleyways nearby, rush into the middle of the crowd and just start tearing into the flesh of the guards, and faithful worshiping here. The Angora sweaters doing almost nothing to stop them. Chaos erupts as everything falls down around you, as Cracks makes her displeasure with these dogs being caught, and the injustice of the situation as a whole be known. What do y'all do?
I was going to see if sorry. I was going to see if Miss Ratface could have a conversation with the executioner.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, they are kind of like backing, like they are a little dismayed and caught off guard. Like we see that a dog has torn into one of them. They're looking down at their friend, so they are relatively unaware of anything happening with all the chaos around them. So it would not be hard to get just the drop on them right now if you want to have a conversation.
Yeah. So yeah, I think there's a little bit of solidarity, like rat catcher, dog catcher situation. So she wants to stick up for them.
Is there maybe like a catcher's guild or something?
It's more of a loose alliance of catchers.
Yeah,
guilds,
sure.
yeah.
A network, perhaps.
Yeah. So I would like to cast Giant Rat Skull.
Absolutely. So you're going to make a D20 plus Bloodthirsty roll to hit is how that's going to work. So D20 plus any levels you have in Bloodthirsty.
Yeah. So that's 15. And so I do have Rage. Can I use that?
You can, as long as you understand that means you will draw an attack of some sort as part of that process, for sure.
Absolutely, yeah. Like,
okay.
She doesn't really do things by halves.
That's great. Yeah. So you're triggering your rage ability. So that you still have to roll both of those. So you automatically rage, but you hit the first time. You're hitting rage, which means you're going to get a second attack also too. So go ahead and roll exact same way.
So that was 14 for the second one.
Both of those are going to hit. So you tell me where your rat catcher, your giant rat catching hammer, catches this guard and what it looks like as they crumple down to the ground.
So I think she's just walking up and it's just like one felling a tree axe to the swing to the knee and then just pounding the ornate china helm that just shatters to pieces of the rat skull, just hammers down on it.
Awesome. You see this porcelain armor just absolutely snap and shatter underneath your 2 blows. Don't make armor out of porcelain. It's not an ideal substance for that. As this individual crumbles to the ground. Now I will say you did also take cleave and you have just downed a foe. And so I don't know if there's anything else you want to do. You can also wait and trigger it once you know what the attack is going to be. if you would like to.
I mean, are there any rats nearby?
I mean, probably. More concerning is, and this is unfortunate. And if we need to veil this or cut away or something else, there's a rabid dog bearing down upon you, though.
Yeah, so I'm happy to do that. Let's check in with everyone.
I know we just freed the dogs because they were all captured and we were worried about them, but one of them is about to try to rip off Bleed Plenty's face also too.
I would say as far as Vish is concerned, he just didn't want them to be caged, but
they can be dead though.
Yeah, but yeah, as long as they're free.
Yeah.
As long as they're free and they're the aggressor, that's the other.
Yeah,
exactly. I'm like, well, he started it, the dog. So I'm like,
he
okay,
sort of had it coming.
Yeah, exactly. Like that's on the dog.
Cool. We will probably won't get gruesome here on this one.
Yeah.
Why don't you go ahead and roll a d20 plus sneaky to see if the dog see how the dog's attack goes through.
So d20 plus sneaky is 19 just on the die.
Awesome, which is great because that means you do not get bit by this dog, as you can I don't want to get I don't want to get too into animal distress. So the dog is unhealthy. We as previously noted, it is rabid. So but it snaps through the air kind of right next to your face as you kind of use your rat hammer to interpose it the hammer to the dog and kind of push it off to the side. What would you like to do? Would you like to trigger cleave, or do you want to just let initiative move forward?
I might trigger cleave, but Marcus, were you trying to get?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was thinking, how many dogs are there right now around us? 7, 6?
There are 7.
Could I just use all my 3 uses of heal to cure all these dogs at the same time?
You could, Marcus, but the designer of this game created 2 different healing abilities, one called cleanse and one called heal. And heal heals physical injury, and cleanse removes diseases or presences or other unhealthy things. So you would need to have cleanse. Do you have cleanse?
I do not.
Well, then you can. I mean, you can heal these dogs as much as you want, but it will not solve the rabies problem.
What's the phrasing? Lingering effect or something? Yeah, you're right.
The designer of this game is just against you, Marcus. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
We designed the game this way.
How dare you?
So back to the cleave, I guess.
Okay. That's just a 13.
That's why I always say.
D20 plus bloodthirsty.
Yes, that's 13.
That does hit. The dog is no longer a problem. As a matter, the dogs, the other 6 dogs all seem to be occupied tearing apart the flesh of others. If y'all want to do anything about that, you can. If you just want to hightail it out, or if you want to stop and try to throw up a quick prayer and see what happens, that is the function of what you can do in the Temple District. You can take some time to pray. They also oftentimes buy or sell holy water or some equivalent in temples. I don't know that you would have to pay for it right now if you can find it, because there's a lot going on here. But I don't know if y'all want to do either of those things, pray or buy or sell.
I think we've done enough. I'm happy to get out of here with my mule.
If there's like holy water like available, like if I turn to my right and I'm like, oh my god, holy water, like I'll scoop some up.
You see a giant pot of tea that looks like it is blessed. It is a blessed brew of some sort. You're not 100% sure, but if you want to grab that, you absolutely can grab that.
I learned in my days of monging that you gotta use what you get. You gotta make the most of the situation. So Vish is like, yeah, sure, I'll take that. And then just kind of literally like saunters out while there are dogs ripping everyone else.
Yeah, I mean, like literally the person who would normally be selling it goes to object before a dog hits it from the side and just tears into their body. And this is actually five uses of holy tea is going to be in this teapot.
Cool.
Can I ask, is there anything on the executioner? But just before we head out, but otherwise,
they had a really cool axe that got shattered. So they have an axe pole and a bunch of shattered porcelain things. Now you look down and like there is a lot of like gold leaf on the what looks like gold leafing and potentially could be real gold on outside of a lot of this porcelain. It's thin, but if you had enough of it, it's probably worth something.
Could I take that and the axe parts with the intention to like do a kintsugi situation maybe in the future?
Absolutely, yeah. So you can easily get the two halves of the axe blade and the axe pole, and the axe blade has a good amount of that leafing on it already. Cool. You do just now have a basically 8-foot pole and two halves of an axe that you have access to. So. Cool. All right. It's finally, as y'all run out of this section of the city, leaving behind this carnage, you make your way to the bazaar, and somebody roll a d4 for me. Let's find out what kind of bazaar it is.
I got you. It's 2.
Awesome. Classic. Glad to have Alex back for this again. This is the singing bazaar. Somebody tell me what song or what types of songs are breaking out into the air right now as you enter into this lively, wild singing bazaar. Yeah. What do we hear?
Jingles.
Jingle?
Like every stall has their own jingle, and every stall worth its name has its own little barbershop choir.
I feel like I'm being backed into a corner and that I'm going to have to sing something for the as Piss Baby's homunculus daddy. I love that. So we see that like in place of like television commercials or even just billboards, we see that song is the advertising mode of choice within this bazaar. I would love everyone to give me a sample. You don't have to sing anything. You don't have to come up with a rhyme on the spot. But what shop catches your character's eye, and what kind of musical styling is coming from that place, right? So you can give it in the style of, or you can give us a little bit of whatever if you want to. But what catches your character's eye that's being sold, and what type of musical style is being used to sell it? Marcus, since you inflicted this curse on everybody, you go first.
Okay, Brother Finlow notices a stall to his right where they are selling exquisite clay vases, and the choir is singing, "You just won the lottery, come and sample our pottery."
It was better than it had any right to be, and I shouldn't have let you go.
Right? I'm mad.
Kegan, in your rage, tell us what catches your character's eye.
Oh no. I think it is an instrument store. And you would expect them to have very good music here, but it's they're obviously not making a ton of money. They do have a barbershop quartet, but they are not in tune. There's something a bit disharmonious going on here.
I love it. Awesome. Alex, how about your character? What catches their eye, and what type of musical style is?
Yeah. I think it's a farmer's booth. This is a beat farmer selling beats. I think the style of music is EDM. So it's like beats. You can eat. Meat, the beats.
Oh my God. The drop.
They got some lights going too.
I love it.
Shoot a beat gun out into the.
Yeah, and everyone's like, "Whoa, beats!"
And then Brina, same question for you. Last one. What do we see?
This is Sandy B's alchemy, and it's set up. It's just one very awkward alchemist, and she has all her alembics and like beakers and stuff, and she is like playing them like wine glasses. So she is just like she's brewing all this stuff while like full theremin style, but like running around the rim of these glass things.
It's so good. We're not even going to do any of the rest of the questions just because the singing bazaar is always the most fun one to just see what kind of weird stuff comes out. Awesome. Is there anything specific you're looking for with your coin? And y'all would all before above and beyond the 430, like y'all would each have like 300-ish coin already. So if there's something you want, since we established y'all as having already done an adventure or two, you have money. So if there's something specific you wanted to pick up or pool your money for, now is a great time to do that.
How about food rations?
Ooh, rations are an idea.
Yeah,
it looks like it's gonna be a couple of days out, like about a day of travel plus a few days there. So rations would not be a bad idea.
Vish is gonna say, I don't know why, but I'm just feeling like I'm in the mood for beets. I think maybe that should be our ration choice. Something's telling me.
Good idea. Now that you mention it, I could go for some beets. Yes.
Great.
So you drop the beets in your bag, and what do you do next?
Well, we need a bear, surely. I'm not sure how we work Battlestar Galactica into it, but
yeah.
Does Sandy B have any potions?
Sandy B does have potions, a number of them. There are a lot of different ways alchemy and arcana are handled in the city of Infinitopolis. There are some common potions, things like Stitch Flesh, which will heal you, Fool's Dawn, which lets you kind of recover without having to sleep. God, I love when I wrote this one. Scientia Sacra, which is it's the scientific formula for divinity distilled down into a liquid. So it is holy water, but it is not. Amazing. It's produced through science. The sensory impairment powder, Scout's Preventer, which means you won't have to eat. And then there's something called dregs or scraps, which are basically just random bits of alchemical power that don't have particular spell effects to them, but can be used to do weird stuff. So those are common ones. Rare potions, you might have to enter into some negotiation for, or even find out if they have. So that might require some rolling to see if they have something specific.
Just out of curiosity, are there any potions that might cure rabies?
There are some potions that would probably cure rabies without much trouble. But the problem is there's a mix in both, like, hey, here's what the alchemical concoction is intended to do, but also you kind of have to apply your will to it, basically to enact the alchemical reality for it. So you also have to do it right. Like you have to have the right prescription and know the right way to take the medicine also to, or apply the medicine. But yeah, there are a number of different potions that would help with rabies, if you wanted to just have one on you.
Could be a handy thing for the priest to have. This stitch up sounds good.
All right, cool. Did you want so you can get them with different levels of effect. So they either cost 100, 200, or 400 coin, and that is like if 100 heals 1 hit point, 200 heals 2 hit points. If you want to heal 3 hit points, it costs 400 gold. And so depends on how quickly you want to do it. Also, we should clarify, it stitches flesh and bone back together rapidly, and it is physically unpleasant when you consume it.
Wonderful. I mean, I might go for 2 of the 2, which would be 400, which is like the gold you said I would have, and probably most of my share of the 430.
Yeah, that's
Sure. So you get two. You spend 400 coin and get 2 stitch flesh potions that'll heal 2 hit points each.
Cool.
while we're
Is there
here...
any? Oh no, you go first.
Okay, cool. While we're here at the alchemy shop, is there a way to get like a poison or anything like that?
Do you have any sneaky?
I have 2 levels of sneaky.
Make a luck roll for me.
Yeah. That is a 5.
Yeah, so you can tell based on some of the markings on this alchemist's sign, or some of the alembic glass plane notes, that there's a touch of thieves' cant in there that's letting you know that they do have some black market goods. As long as you know the right lyric to drop on top of that alembic reality, they will happily sell you poison.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I'd like to get some of that.
Well, what's that note sound like, Kegan?
Oh, I don't know.
Listen with you.
I was like, perfect. Yeah, no, I do the thing you just said.
Yeah,
You said on another previous stream that you love karaoke.
I hate karaoke is the problem.
my character knows that information, and I do it. So that's 250 coin. Is there a certain type of poison you're looking for, or just good old kill 'em poison?
Just good old kill 'em poison.
There you go. All right, you got some.
Cool.
I was wondering if anyone is selling like acid, like corrosive, not like a drug. To be clear.
I mean, the alchemist has both.
Yeah.
By the way, Piss Baby is very mad you're at the wrong alchemist shop, but is like you just kind of clamp your hand over their mouth at one point in time. But they have been very active, trying to object with every purchase.
Amazing.
They do there is acid for sale at the alchemist shop also too. There is a thing called the Wizard Killer, which showers. You can throw. It's an acid bomb that you can throw into a room, and it will do 3 hits to everyone in that room.
Oh, that's fun.
But if you just want acid, then it would be cheaper than the Wizard Killer.
I do the kind of thing that, you know what people do when you're like deciding, we are at a restaurant and you're deciding whether or not you want to get an appetizer, and you're like, would you have some? I'm looking to the group and being like, so Wizard Killer, regular acid, Wizard Killer, regular acid.
Wizard Killer for sure.
Yeah, I'm feeling like it might be time to splurge, you know? Like, why not? Like, treat ourselves, right?
It is 500 coins, so you would need other people to go in with you on not a lot. I mean, if other people are like, oh, I'll kick in 50 coin, like a couple people are going to kick in 50 coin or whatever, you can't afford an acid bomb or the Wizard Killer.
Right.
Yeah, I'll throw 100 at you.
So
That's
there you
what I
go.
got left. So
Okay, great. I'll get you back with some of this holy tea that I got.
thank you.
It's probably worth something. I don't know. I'm not a Davist personally.
I'll take 1 serving of blessed brew.
Great. I pour you the blessed brew.
Thank you.
Love it.
Presumably you have a cup or something. If not, I just pour it right into your hands. cup it the whole time.
You just assume I have my hands
great.
cupped until I need it.
Yeah. I think we're getting the Wizard Killer then.
Awesome. So y'all get the Wizard Killer. Anything else anybody wants to buy?
I think we've spent all of our money. Oh no.
Yeah, that was a lot of purchasing. I'm not that's probably the max purchasing I've ever seen any group. Most groups are like, I don't know, we'll buy one thing that explodes, then leave town. And I'm like, okay, great. Like, that sounds fun. That was a lot of good purchases. Cool.
Let's just because Alex just disappeared and the overlay's funny. Can we just go on like a 5 real quick?
We can. We've also only got 15 minutes left.
Oh, never mind. I will just never mind. I don't have to do anything. Great.
Oops.
You're good.
I'm back.
Yay, you're back. Awesome. So yeah, we've got about 15 minutes left. We can pick a 5 and just go, finish up. And
I just wanted a 5 because I was too lazy to reset the overlay. We're good
Gotcha.
now.
All right.
Sorry.
You're good.
So y'all have fully provisioned with your mules and horses in tow. The bazaar does have an egress out of the city for it. So if y'all like the idea of traveling by night, y'all can depart the city from here. You also still have a good bit of day in front of you, but you will be able to get out to the valley by tomorrow if you'd like to leave today.
Yeah, I like the idea of traveling by night. Only criminals travel by night, so the roads will be empty other than us.
That's right. And you and anybody you see, you can immediately attack because
only criminals travel at night.
Yeah.
So out we go.
Yeah.
out we go. So we're gonna move into kind of some of the hex crawl pieces for this. I would say this is a piece you don't normally have to do. You could just let people say, hey, it's going to take 2 days, mark off 2 provisions, you're going to be there, right? Or make a couple of luck rolls to see what happens. Sometimes an assassin, based on some of their rolls, might be following them around the city and then follow them out of the city, or robbers might set upon them along the way. You can do all that kind of stuff if you want to. We are going to be showcasing some of the hex crawl rules, though, as part of this overall process of moving out there. Since it's only a day out, we are just going to say on the day there, I need one person to make a luck roll for me.
I'm on it. That's 3.
All right. So as you leave to head out, it's a bit of a chilly night, but you're provisioned well, but you didn't necessarily pack for cold. So other than the fact that it is a little bit uncomfortable as you pass and travel through the night, unless you were dressed for warmth, the night passes largely without incident into the next day, as you find yourself kind of coming up on this section of land in front of you starts to open up, and what is a set of where 2 mountain ranges connect to each other normally. The snow has melted and the land has shifted in a way that has now opened up the Valley of Splendor, the hidden Valley of Splendor Pass. In order to set up both the little bit of travel we're going to do in the valley to get to the dungeon, as well as set of dungeon and press, we're gonna look at a specific couple of pieces that are player input pieces. So on any sort of hex crawling that we do, and as you enter into this space, you will be doing a little bit of hex crawling. You ask 2 questions anytime you enter into a hex crawl region to the table, right? And these fall under the normal lore as loot rules that we do for anything, which means that I'm going to ask y'all a question, and then it's always going to be at least somewhat true. You will have heard rumors about this place that will matter, and the roll that happens will determine how true those things are or aren't. My job as the GM or the keeper is to apply the input you give me plus that luck roll or the lore's loot roll to determine what the specifics look like when we get in there. So anytime you come into a new hex map region, I'm going to ask the players, what's the greatest treasure you have heard of here? Now, this could be the codex that was mentioned, or it could be something else entirely. So as you enter the Valley of Splendor Past, what is the greatest treasure here that y'all have heard of? And this is a question anyone can answer. Y'all can talk about it as a table. This is to all of you. What's the greatest treasure that you have heard is here?
I got it.
All right, Marcus, what have you
There's a special orchid growing only in these parts, and it blooms only 1 hour each year. But it is said that when its petals open up, a fist-sized diamond is within this flower.
Ooh.
That's very cool. Could we say that the power of this diamond is said that it can make even the most bitter dish taste incredibly sweet without adding any calories?
Are you also thinking about Hidden Valley? Because that's all I could think about.
Yeah, Hidden Valley of Splendor.
That's hilarious. And I hate y'all. I'm
sorry for taking your beautiful item.
No, that's great. I love that. And it's what y'all have heard, right? So any parts of this could be true. Some part of it is, but we don't know what. So here are two options, and the way that it's written in general is the GM doesn't make rolls, right? So all rolls are player facing. So this is the one role where sometimes as a table, I'll have a conversation. What is more fun for y'all? Would y'all like me to make the roll in secret, and y'all not know how true or not true this is? Or would y'all like to make the roll publicly and y'all will know how true or not true this is, but you won't know what is true or not true about it? Either one is fine. The way that the rules are written is that all rolls are public player facing. I oftentimes will make these rolls secretly because it's just a fun little thing for me as GM, but I don't care particularly one way or the other. Do y'all have a preference?
I kind of like the idea of knowing how true it is without knowing what is true. That feels a little spicier to me.
And it is why it's written the way it's written. And we are
Yeah.
playing this raw, so I'm 100% inclined with that. So
I was going to point out, if you weren't taking it raw, that would be naughty.
yeah, that's true. Who would like to make that roll then? Alex, why don't you go ahead and make that roll?
Yeah. What die is it?
It's a D6.
Okay, great. 2.
2. Okay. So that means it's probably not super true. Like y'all as characters know, or y'all as players know, this is not super. It's characters. This is what some of y'all have heard and y'all are discussing. As players, you know, that's probably pretty untrue.
There's just a flower up there. Calm down, you all.
I think there's just something that changes the taste with low calories.
Right.
Oh, okay.
Which could be, yeah. I mean, like it could be any of those kinds of things. So we do know that it's only a little bit true is what we do.
It's honeysuckle. It smells sweet, but it tastes bad.
Then the other question that y'all always answer as a table whenever we enter into a section is, what is the greatest danger here? And the same rules are going to apply. It's always going to be at least somewhat true.
I think there are people who have come out here, every time the Hidden Valley opens, looking for this flower, regardless of if it's true or not. I think we're probably not the only ones who have heard this.
So you're going with the classic other people.
Yeah.
Can I add a wrinkle to the other people?
Yeah.
Please.
I want to add that the promise of the orchid diamond, and they look for it and they can't find it, and it makes them go like a little feral.
Huh.
So there could be feral people.
I like that. So like crazed and feral with the promise of this orchid.
Yes.
Just
all right. Kegan, do you want to roll dice for me?
Yeah, I'll roll a d6. Hacha. That's a 6.
All right. Well, a 6, you know that it's going to be almost entirely, if not 100% completely true. Also, the GM can, if they just really love something they hear, not require a roll and be like, that. I love that. That's the thing. Like, we're going to do that. So, like, you always have your, like, GMs don't let anybody ever write a rule that you think takes your agency away if you hear your players say something really cool. And so, cool. So we've got a 6 for that. So you do know that you're going to encounter some of these folks as you head in to the valley. We're going to do a cutscene, and then we're going to close for the day with our other lore as loot questions. You've found your way through the valley. We see you standing outside of what looks like maybe it's an ancient temple, maybe it's another austere building, but it seems like it must be some kind of museum. I do need somebody to roll a d4 for me real quick. This is for me. I'll do my mark with it. The 3. It looks like the pillars of this large building and even the steps themselves are made out of carved and stacked bone that have been shaped into into intricate archways and windows. This is a gorgeous building that gleams with the yellow white of ancient bones. So you've found yourself outside of the Museum of Bones, a place marked on the map given to you with a question mark next to it from the seal clubbers. You, as you stand on the outside of it, tell me one aspect of the Museum of Bones that stands out to your character, and then after you tell me that aspect, I'm going to ask you one of the rumors that you specifically have heard about the Museum of Bones. Brina, why don't we start with you? What physical aspect of the Museum of Bones stands out to your character?
I think she is aware that they're just huge tusks that just line the entire way in, and yeah, I think that it really wants to see if there's something else they can weaponize and steal inside.
Awesome. What is the most prized object of art that you have heard is here?
A saber-toothed rat spine. It's a huge spine that in her mind, okay, no, I changed my mind. Kegan is correct. It's the Mona Lisa. It's an enigmatic skeleton that just ensnares everybody's attention. It is just what is that skeleton thinking?
I was trying so hard not to say it out loud.
Roll a d6 for me, and we're gonna find out how true it is, whether they're not the Mona Lisa. Is the most prized object of art here.
That's a 2. I don't have it in my heart to lie.
Kegan.
Yeah.
Pure chaos demon. What is the one aspect of this as you look at this place that catches your character's eye?
I think all around the museum itself there are a number of smaller buildings also made of bone that we would know as artist residences.
That's good. And then what did you hear happened to the previous caretaker or curator of the Museum of Bone?
I think specifically we heard that nobody knows exactly what happened to them. I think they started building out this museum sort of out and up, and they just kept building up, and at one point people stopped seeing them. They could still be building up. They might be dead. It's not super well known.
Okay. Roll a d6 for me.
On it. That's 2. Wow, a lot of 2s.
Can't help but notice you're not showing this one. No, I'm just kidding. Awesome. Alex, what catches your character's eye?
Yeah, I think that Vish sees that there is a sign made from finger bones, thin kind of bones, pieced together to make letters, and it says museum hours, closes early on Sundays and free days, Tuesday evenings, that kind of thing.
Awesome. What are the hours today?
It's actually open till 8 tonight, and I'm like, guys, it's we got plenty of time. We can hang out.
Who is the artist who committed ceremonial? Oh, how does everybody feel about an artist killing themselves in this location and there being a rumor about that?
Oh, yeah.
Are we all okay with that?
Yep, that was all thumbs up.
Yeah. Cool. Who was the artist who committed ceremonial suicide here?
I wish I was quick enough to make an artist bone pun again, but I'm not. So
you didn't mean Bonet didn't just immediately jump to mind?
Oops.
Monet bone? Bonet?
Oh, Bonet. Oh, no, it did not. I'm gonna say the artist was wait, was it supposed to be just who, or was it the story?
All right, you can give me as much or as little as you want. The question is who, but I mean, more story is always better.
I'm gonna go with it was a follower of Dave. Name unknown. But once I come up with a name, it'll be a pun. Who apparently is still they killed themselves as an art piece, as performance art, and the bones are still there because that's the story.
Perfect.
Roll a dice for me.
Three.
Damn, nothing's true.
Three isn't that bad. We get you into that middling territory. Where like you're not going to feel dumb when you find out why everybody thought that was the case. You know. Awesome. And then Marcus, what catches your character's eye?
Just the sheer amount of bones. I mean, the number of people and animals and other things that have died to build this place. The amount, it has to be in the thousands.
And then why are certain I don't like this one. I'm gonna ask a different one. Not because it's bad, it just doesn't make as much contextual sense. What is one item that you've always wanted, that your character has dreamed about being in the gift shop here?
I'm sorry, come again?
What is one item that your character has heard is in the gift shop of this museum?
The gift shop. Okay. Small replicas of the skulls of all the artists who who lived in these artist buildings.
I would unironically buy that from an art museum.
I would too.
Love it.
And it's a 1 on my D6 roll.
Oh man, rip.
It's too good to exist, unfortunately.
It's too good. But all you museum curators out there who are watching right now obviously realize that there is a market for artist skull replicas. And if you're not doing that, you're leaving money on the table. Awesome. So we will leave our session at the edge of the Museum of Bones. And we're going to come back and play at 2:00 again tomorrow through about 4:00 again. Also, too, we're going to dive right into our adventure in the dungeon, having got a little bit of a sense of some of the travel up to it, the dungeon itself, and then what all the different elements that have come out. The Laura's Loot questions, those are my responsibility to kind of weave into the experience of the dungeon. So we can see that there's some questions that we just say and they are the thing. So what are the decorations look like, the artist residences, the amount of different bones, the giant tusks that line the area. All those different elements are just things the players said. The rumors that they responded to, though, I will have to incorporate those into the actual dungeon itself as we enter into the Museum of Bones. Cool. We'll see you guys tomorrow. We don't have a good way to end these streams at this point. We're not interested in trying. So we're just going to wave at the camera until Kegan takes us off air.